And the sport is professional basketball. The Clippers have beaten the Lakers 11 straight games. We would like to see that rivalry flip back to when the Lakers owned the Clippers. At least some would. Lakers fans would. Today's draft, in honor of the fact that the Clippers now own the Lakers. Rivalries we would like to see reversed. And I've already tipped my hand that I may be going off the board with some of these and not restricting it to actual NFL rivalries. Myles, I'll give you the first pick.
All right, well, thank you. I will at least start with the NFL, and let's go with the Bears-Packers rivalry. And this one actually is time probably to be flipped because Aaron Rodgers is no longer going to be in that division. So if you subscribe to the theory that Aaron Rodgers owns the Bears, then the Bears are going to be under new management, right? That's also great. But I was looking at the numbers. Aaron Rodgers is 24-5 against the Bears as a Packers quarterback. 24-5. The Bears haven't beaten the Packers since 2018. Only 3 wins against the Packers since the start of 2011. It's nuts. So I would love to see if like Justin Fields and Jordan Love, maybe they can have an actual rivalry, or if Justin Fields comes out and he starts dominating the Packers for years and years to come. That would also be fun for the Bears fans that are in Chicago.
I was going to go Bears-Packers, but that is the obvious one because of the whole Aaron Rodgers, I own you. We actually had that in a draft earlier this week. Some of the best taunts in NFL history was the Aaron Rodgers championship belt and I effing own you being yelled at the fans at Soldier Field who had been giving him the business verbally. I'll go with one that has kind of begun to shift, but it hasn't shifted yet, and it hasn't become as cockeyed as it used to be. The Pittsburgh Steelers and your Cleveland Browns. And this is one that goes back pre-Ravens moving to Baltimore and becoming the Ravens when they were the Browns, even though it still is the Browns franchise. I know Myles loves to hear that. But the Steelers have owned the Browns forever. Forever. The Steelers have had the upper hand in that series. This decade, it is 4-3 Steelers, even though the Browns arguably have been the better team, and it could be on the cusp of changing dramatically if Deshaun Watson becomes what the Browns need him to become. But I'm looking at the decades of the 2010s, 16-3-1 were the Steelers. The prior decade, 18-3, the Steelers against the Cleveland Browns. That one is one that needs to change. The needle needs to flip the other way to make it not so, like every time that and when the Browns win, like there's some historical outcomes that were like, holy crap, 1989, the Browns won week 1, 51-0 in Pittsburgh. But usually it's the Steelers over the Browns. A very close rivalry. Don't even have to fly. It's a quick drive. Great. Should be a better rivalry than it's been. That's one that I would like to see every game be a great, close, tough contest.
No, that's because the real rivalry moved to Baltimore when they took my franchise birthright away. So that's why the Ravens and Steelers have a great rivalry. And the Steelers dominated the Ravens for most of my, the lifetime that I can remember when I was growing up. So yeah, that one stings. But we can move on to my next pick, which would be, let's say the Chiefs and the Broncos. Because this one has just been absolute dominance since Peyton Manning's last year. The Chiefs have beaten the Broncos 15 straight times dating back to 2015. That's crazy. And they have not really been all that close. There have been some close games in the Mahomes era. Jerry Rossberg, the sheriff, came in last year at the end of the season and said, we've got to be better and we've got to beat the Chiefs, even though he was the interim coach. And they played the Chiefs competitively, but the Chiefs still won. So I think, it's going to be interesting to see whether or not Sean Payton can really influence and affect that rivalry and make it a rivalry again, because right now it absolutely is not one.
You could basically pick the Chiefs and any team other than the Bengals right now and say it would be time for that rivalry to flip. Like Chiefs-Raiders, Chiefs-Raiders was one of the first rivalries I became aware of. Dallas-Washington and Chiefs-Raiders were the two rivalries that I like when I was a kid and first following football. Those just stood out. Those were the great rivalries. So here's where I go off the board. Since basketball brought us here, I do have to give a nod to one of the great, it was fun moments when I was a kid. I was a big fan of the Harlem Globetrotters. Whenever they were on ABC's Wild World of Sports, which they would land on from time to time, they had a Saturday morning show. They would come to town. My dad took me to see them multiple times. They'd have the bucket of confetti and then inevitably the bucket of water when everybody thought it was confetti again. The Globetrotters and the poor Washington Generals. And I think the Generals, I haven't looked up the record. I think there was a fluke night once upon a time where the Generals won. But wouldn't the show be better if the game was somewhat competitive between the Harlem Globetrotters and the Washington Generals? They just run roughshod over them every single game. So just once in a while. We still want to see the Globetrotters win when we go, but it would be nice for the Generals to get off the mat every once in a while. All right, we got one more round. The reports vary. Some say that the Washington Generals have beaten the Globetrotters 6 times. Others say 3 times in 1954, 1958, and 1971. And playing as the New Jersey Reds on January 5, 1971 in Martin, Tennessee, the Generals/Reds won the game 100-99, ending a 2,495 game losing streak. So there has been hope for all those Washington Generals fans out there. Lightning can strike once in a while. All right, Myles, give me one more pick of rivalries you would like to see flipped.
All right, I'll stick with the NFL. I'll go Rams 49ers because I know that the Rams got the one that really counted in the NFC Championship game last year. But come on, man. They haven't won a regular season game against the San Francisco 49ers since 2018, which is the last year that I worked there. It's time to flip that thing, Rams. Let's go. Let's get a regular season win this year. I don't know if they're going to do that.
All right. I have to stay off the board. I'm going way off the board. This goes back to my childhood. This is a cartoon that I used to love and still love. Myles has probably never seen it, but one of these days, the Coyote needs to beat the Roadrunner. The Coyote can't have his face blown off every time or land. Oh, there it is. There's the. Well done. Well done. The poor Coyote, Wile E. Coyote, super genius, can never get the Roadrunner. And I think that all came up a few years ago because we were calling Kyler Murray the Roadrunner because basically that just meep and off he went. So the Roadrunner was never caught by that. Of course, that's a rivalry that if the Coyote ever wins, it's over because he's going to kill and eat the Roadrunner. So, at least when the Roadrunner wins, you live to play another day. So maybe I've just answered my question. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.